Hassan Rouhani. It was the first time an Iranian president had been to the meeting in a decade. And right now, Iran holds many cards in arguably the two biggest crises in world affairs. First off, its own nuclear program. On Monday, the West rolled back a series of sanctions against Iran after the Persian nation was found to be in compliance of its side of the nuclear agreement, steps that essentially slow the country's nuclear development program. Iran is also a crucial player in the vexing problem of the Syrian civil war. Tehran is one of the biggest supporters of President Assad, Moscow being the other. Iran was first invited and then disinvited to this week's Geneva II conference, which sought a political solution to the crisis. I asked President Rouhani about both and more. Listen in. President Rouhani, it is a great honor to have you.
I am also happy to be here.
In an interview last week with the New Yorker magazine, President Obama said that he thought there was a 50-50 chance of completing a comprehensive agreement with Iran, not the interim one that's just been signed. But there are a few crucial issues which seem to me make it quite difficult. There is a widespread feeling in the United States and France, in many Western countries, that Iran should have almost no enrichment capability, that it should instead get its enriched uranium from outside. You said in an interview with the Financial Times, Iran will absolutely retain its enrichment. Do you believe that it will be possible to bridge this gap by allowing Iran to have a small enrichment capacity, but for the most part, to forego enrichment?
Iran will not accept this. And the peaceful nuclear technology, including enrichment, is part and parcel of the inalienable rights of states. We are only willing to move forward within legal context. If somebody wants to talk with us outside these legal contexts, that tells us that they don't want to have an agreement. When it comes to nuclear technology, the Iranian people are very sensitive. It is a part of our national pride, and nuclear technology has become indigenous, and recently we have managed to secure very considerable prowess with regards to the fabrication of centrifuges. So in the context of R&D and peaceful nuclear technology, we will not accept any limitations. And in accordance with Majlis or Parliament law, in the future we are going to need 20,000 megawatts of nuclear power. We are determined to provide for the nuclear fuel of such plants inside the country at the hands of local Iranian scientists. We are going to follow on this path.
So there will be no destruction of centrifuges, of existing centrifuges?
No, not at all.
This feels as if there is a big divide here. Do you think, in your understanding of the negotiations, that the two sides are, that there is enough goodwill, that there is enough trust, that there can be a bridge between what seem to be very different positions?
Of course, one cannot say there is full confidence and trust. These negotiations, one of the goals of the negotiations is to create trust. The 6-month implementation of the initial agreement has been devised to provide more confidence. There are certain conditions when it comes to certain countries, and confidence cannot come about easily. The Iranian people, with regards to the policies of various American administrations in the past 30 years, are very worried. They don't trust them. So this trust needs to be built. This is a newly founded structure. We only have the foundations in place. We need to bolster the foundations, to be very precise. To have a beautiful building, we need time.
You know, I'm sure that in the United States Congress there is a debate about a bill which would impose further sanctions on Iran if, after the 6-month period, the negotiations, the permanent negotiations, were unsuccessful. What is your reaction to that potential legislation from the U.S. Congress?
At face value, the U.S. Congress, they have a long way to go before they fully appreciate and understand Iranian people. And to know that when, from a religious point of view, religious leaders, to be more specific, the great and eminent leader of the revolution, announces and states that the fabrication and the stockpiling of nuclear weapons is haram, religiously forbidden, this should tell you that we don't want to build the bomb. So when it comes to sanctions, have they been successful so far? Sanctions, first and foremost, are illegal. And a Congress which claims to be making laws should not contravene international laws. So these sanctions translate into the weakening of the NPT, the weakening of international laws and regulations. No other country can decide for another country.
When we come back,